Carlos Alcaraz can't catch a break. Carlos Alcaraz continues to struggle in Australia. Yesterday, Novak Djokovic defeated him in practice, and now Alex de Minaur has bested him in an exhibition match, highlighting the significant work the Spaniard needs to do before the Open starts on Sunday. The new tennis season has taken its time arriving, but it's finally here. Although the Australian Open doesn't kick off until next Sunday, there's already tennis in Melbourne. Qualifying rounds are underway, and the ATP's top players are already on site, warming up and testing themselves in matches. On Wednesday, it was Carlos Alcaraz and Alex de Minaur's turn to take the stage. The official draw won't be revealed until Thursday morning, but the local player and the Spaniard have already delighted fans with an exhibition match on the main court. Unfortunately for the world number 3, things did not go his way. It's worth noting that Carlitos had already lost on Tuesday, albeit in private, dropping a training set to Novak Djokovic. The match against de Minaur was a great chance to redeem himself, but it wasn't to be. The many changes Alcaraz has made during this preseason are taking a toll on him, and he still needs to make several adjustments that could prove crucial not only for this tournament but for the entire year. A battle filled with laughter. Despite the friendly nature of the match and the light-hearted atmosphere, neither player wanted to lose, and they made that clear. However, Alcaraz struggled to find his rhythm with his forehand, a critical shot, especially against de Minaur. While the shot was devastating when it connected, it often lacked control, landing out of bounds. His backhand fared even worse, proving ineffective throughout. These issues allowed de Minaur to take the first set 7-5. Alcaraz improved in the second set, committing fewer errors and becoming more dominant with his serve. He managed to claim the set 6-4, leveling the match. However, the decider, a 10-point tiebreak, went against him. Dealing with a blister on his right thumb, Alcaraz fell 10-5. While the result doesn't carry much weight, it clearly shows that Alcaraz has a long road ahead in the coming 2 weeks. Alcaraz's roadmap to reclaiming the number 1 ATP ranking. We analyze the scenarios the Spaniard needs to close the gap with Jannik Sinner in the ATP rankings and potentially reclaim the top spot. It's been too long since Carlos Alcaraz has been able to look at the ATP rankings and see his name at the top, specifically, not since August 28, 2023. Over a year and a half later, the Spaniard remains far from Jannik Sinner, who has held the world number 1 spot for 31 consecutive weeks. We analyze when Alcaraz could realistically dream of returning to the summit. Expecting a short-term shift at the top of the ATP rankings may seem overly ambitious. After all, Sinner holds a substantial lead, demonstrated unparalleled consistency last year, and Alcaraz isn't even ranked second. However, the Spaniard undoubtedly has what it takes to claim the top spot, and closing the gap over the coming months is not out of the question. Sinner leads Alcaraz by 4,820 points heading into the new season. Sinner is guaranteed to finish the 2025 Australian Open as world number 1, regardless of what happens. However, he cannot gain any points in Melbourne. Any defeat, even in the final, would result in a significant dent in his ranking total. Looking at Alcaraz's mission to inch closer to the top, the Spaniard has a wide margin for improvement until the clay court season and Roland Garros. This is where Alcaraz must seize the moment to accumulate points and put pressure on Sinner. Before the European clay events begin, Sinner will defend an astounding 3,500 points, while Alcaraz only needs to protect 1,700. Indian Wells is the one tournament where Carlitos can't afford any slip-ups, but Sinner has room to gain as all his points from last year's event were wiped out due to doping suspensions. Key takeaway, Alcaraz defends fewer points compared to Sinner until Roland Garros. The outlook for Alcaraz is even brighter when considering the clay court events leading up to Roland Garros. During this period, Carlos defends only 200 points, compared to Sinner's 600. If the Spaniard fails to close the gap, or even surpass his rival, by then, it will become increasingly difficult during the European summer, where he defends 4,000 points across Paris and London. In conclusion, reclaiming the ATP top spot shouldn't be an explicit goal for Alcaraz but rather a possibility that could arise if he performs at an exceptionally high level. The logical expectation is that the gap between him and Jannik Sinner will narrow, and a temporary overtaking isn't out of the question. However, it would require Sinner to suffer early exits in major tournaments. Carlos Alcaraz unveils his new look. The Spaniard has decided to step up his style game, using the Australian Open as an opportunity to surprise everyone. Carlos Alcaraz knows all eyes will be on him as soon as he begins his campaign at the Australian Open, the only Grand Slam missing from his brilliant resume at such a young age. For this reason, the Spaniard has decided to switch up his usual look, surprising everyone with a trendy, Latin-inspired haircut to shed his classic image. Unsurprisingly, Alcaraz has already received all kinds of comments and jokes on social media and from his tournament peers. After his training match against Alex de Minaur, Alcaraz addressed the change. "I talked to my barber about the haircut. I knew it would grow back in 3 days, so I'll need to go more often to keep it fresh." Laughs. New year, coming to Australia, 40 degrees, it's summer here, I needed something new. I've had this cut a few years ago, and I like it, so this year. We'll probably see a new style for Carlitos. I'm going to try new things this year. So far, his new look hasn't brought him much luck. The world number 3 debuted in Australia with a loss to Alex de Minaur, falling 7-4, 4-6, and 10-5 in a charity exhibition match at Melbourne Park's Rod Laver Arena, the site of the Australian Open starting Sunday. In his first match of the year, just 4 days before the season's first Grand Slam, Alcaraz got a taste of how challenging this season will be. He learned that not only Jannik Sinner poses a threat. Although Alcaraz had won their 2 previous meetings, this time the outcome was different. Since his last match at the Davis Cup Finals in Malaga in November, Alcaraz has been out of competition. De Minaur took full advantage, surprising the Spaniard in the first and third sets. Juan Carlos Ferrero, speaking during the match, emphasized that Carlos is very young and has a lot of room for improvement, revealing that they're working hard to increase his consistency. On Friday, Alcaraz will play another exhibition match against Australian Alexei Popyrin, ranked number 25. This will serve as his final tune-up before the Grand Slam opener, by which time he'll know his position in the draw, set to be revealed Thursday. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. At Tennis Zone, we're dedicated to bringing you the best content for the best audience. We provide in-depth analysis, exclusive interviews, and comprehensive coverage of everything related to the world of tennis. Join our community and share the excitement of tournaments with us. At Tennis Zone, we strive to offer you up-to-date, high-quality content on players, tournaments, strategies, and the most relevant happenings in the tennis world.